Well, I get to introduce our speaker.
I want to hear this.
So I'll tell you that I'll tell you a story. So Jennifer worked for me, and we were working at a restaurant in Miami. I wasn't supposed to be dating her, and
He was my boss.
she was the best server. She was like she could handle more volume. She never got flustered. She would move really fast, really fast. And then, so her nickname in the restaurant was Crash because she would move so fast that she would break something. So even if she wasn't working that day, they'd hear a crash in the restaurant and everybody'd say, Jenny. So, but then during college, she went to work for did an internship with the City of Boca Raton. She went to the City of Coral Springs, where she was in charge of planning, and then became the chief planner there. Went to the City of Tamarack, worked in had all the community development department in that city, and then was recruited to come back as assistant city manager for Coral Springs, and then came here. So Jennifer Bramley.
Thank you. Can I have your phone number? All right. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me. I did put together a PowerPoint for all these. Here it is. See, there you go. There's PowerPoint. And first of all, I just want to say I'm glad to see Duggan Cooley here. My good old friend Duggan Cooley. We, as you may know, worked together on the Gladys Douglas property. And PCF and Duggan, they were integral in focusing us and getting that effort moving forward. And so I'm glad to see you here, Duggan. You look fine. And also PCF is helping us raise money for the boat club as well. Yeah. It's a very good partnership. Is that okay right here?
Yeah.
I'm right behind the bell, apparently. Larry, you want me to? Okay.
It's holding up the flag.
Oh, okay. All right, we're good. Anyway, so yeah, I've been your city manager for 8 years now. And it seems like they have been, thank you. Lightning years. They have gone by so fast. And some of you may know that I came in like a hurricane, literally. And that was Hurricane Irma. That was a time when, I walked into the Emergency Operations Center and did not know one person's name. But that's when Incident Command works. It's the national system for running emergencies, if you will. And all I needed to know is who the incident commander is, right? Who the logistics person is, and so on and so forth, and move forward. So we handled Irma, then we handled COVID, then we handled 2 hurricanes in the middle, and then another one, the Debbie, and then Hilton. And I call, last year, September and October, I don't call it Helene and Milton, I call it Hilton. So it's just all together, right? So anyway, but Julie asked me to come to talk to you a little bit about the budget. And so I'm going to spin in some of the other priorities and capital projects that we have in the city and some of the threats that we see moving forward in a typical SWOT analysis. So, one thing that we did last year was that we really organized our strategic planning efforts. I come from high-performing organizations. City of Coral Springs was a Malcolm Baldrige award-winning organization. That means for total quality management, and it was awarded to them by the President of the United States, George Bush at the time. And so I'm accustomed to strategic planning, and I'm accustomed to high-performing organizations. And so we are applying that to the City of Dunedin incrementally. It's an evolution, not a revolution, but we've made great progress this last year. The City Commission has adopted our new strategic plan. They've adopted our vision, our mission, and our core values. Our vision is to cultivate a vibrant, inclusive community that treasures its history, champions sustainability, and fosters a safe environment. And that vision statement is predicated upon all the public input that we got. How many of you did the public input sessions for strategic planning? Quite a few of you. Thank you for your service. But all of that is predicated upon those meetings that we had with the stakeholders, with the employees, with the business owners, and so on and so forth. Our mission then is to improve the quality of life for all by listening to the voices of our citizens. And that came directly out of those sessions. Our citizens want to be listened to. And we have 33 boards and committees, and you certainly are. Every single city commission agenda item. How many of you have ever looked at the city commission agenda at the items? Oh, good. Quite a few of you. you will see a section that says boards and committees, right? And that is the board and committee that item went through to be reviewed and to advise the city commission. So the voices of our citizens in providing quality services through responsible financial stewardship. Our core values, customer focused, integrity, accountability, stewardship, and innovation. And that last one is near and dear to my heart. I want to be an innovative organization, and I want our employees to feel empowered to be innovative. And we have some really good examples of innovation in the city. We organize those into strategic themes then, and we have 7 strategic themes now. We have city services, communications and technology, community stakeholders, community. Do you have our team glasses now? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we have team glasses in our community amenities. Thank you, buddy. Community amenities, environmental resiliency and sustainability, good governance, infrastructure, planning and growth, and multimodal transit. And so everything that we do is organized around those strategic themes. The department directors this year are evaluated against those themes. Did you succeed or did you not in your business plan initiatives? And then that's going to flow down through the organization until you get to the frontline employees who can tell you what strategic theme they're working under. That provides them with the direction, right? To understand what it is they're doing, how it is what they do contributes to the organization as an organization. And it really worked because we just finished our employee survey and 86% of our employees feel that their values are aligned with the city's mission, which is important. If they feel aligned with what we're doing, then they're going to power their way through to get it done. So everything is organized then under those themes and those core values. Our budgeting process is, shall we say, deliberative. I'm looking at Commissioner Dugard because, it's his first round in the budget process. And I think at some point, he's like, yeah, we're never going to get out of this and adopt a budget. But we actually start in February of every year with our strategic planning retreat. And that's meeting with the city commissioners and the department heads and saying, is this plan good for you? The strategic plan, is this what you're hearing from your constituents? Do you still believe in this? Will you still support this moving forward? Is there anything else you'd like to see? And we get their input, and then we move on to the next round of budgeting, which is the department directors submit their budgets to the city manager's office. At that point, I have the pleasure of sitting down with 12 department heads and their staff and going through their budget line by line. And usually my husband has a glass of wine waiting when I get home. It's on the counter. That's true. No, I'm just kidding. But it's not that big, right? But it is. It's a long day. Some like the larger departments, public works, utilities, parks and recreation. We look at every single item, every single expenditure. And a lot of times I get out the red pen. We'll do this next year. We don't need to do this anymore. We had a $300,000 item in our budget to resurface the community center parking lot. And in order to resurface it, we have to put drainage in it. And who goes to the community center here? Do you think there's anything wrong with the parking lot? No. So we took it out. We don't need it. It's not essential. So let's take it out and so on and so forth. So whose idea was it? It was the former director's, because he felt that, first of all, it wasn't draining properly when it rained hard. And also it's tracking all that stuff, that P-rock into the building itself. So I didn't disagree, but it's not essential. No, it's not essential. So we get our taxable values from the county. We forecast our budget based upon our property values in the general fund. And so right around June, the county tells us how much they think our value increased in the previous year. So let me ask you, how much do you think our value increased in the city of Dunedin in the last calendar year? No. It did. It went 5.4. Yeah, 5.4. We're right. The year before. We're usually up around 12, and I'll talk about the military. This is hard to do without a PowerPoint, but we're usually up around 10-12%. But we were actually very lucky because the hardest hit communities on the coast were negative. Yeah, so because they actually had very little left, but they were negative. But we were 5. We're 6 in the CRA, which is tax increment financing downtown. We were 6%. So we did better than we thought we would. We budgeted for 3. We forecast for 3. We forecast very, very conservatively because, in the budget, in a city budget like this, you can't forecast aggressively because you can't step back. You need to be able to step forward, but never back. in our budgeting process. So the city commission then holds 2 budget workshops and they're all day long. So, and to emphasize that, all day long. But it's important to go through the municipal business plan, the strategic plan, and the budget itself. Those are public meetings, and any one of you can join us anytime you want. No? Okay. You just look at the end result. And then we move to our budget adoption, which is on the 11th, it was first reading of the budget, and then the 23rd, coming up next week, is the final adoption of our fiscal year 2026 budget. So, and then 10/1/25 is a happy fiscal year. And we actually have a little celebration around City Hall. It's really silly. I mean, it's kind of like a municipal budget nerd type of thing where you have a New Year's on October 1st. So our taxable value then went up, as I said. Taxable value in the downtown is $324 million. So on those parcels of property, they generate $324 million. The taxable value, the value of those is $324,000. How much do you think of the city of Dunedin altogether?
It's valued the whole.
Yeah, the value of the property in the city of Dunedin altogether.
Downtown's 300 some odd million.
324 million. Yeah. No, 4.8 billion. Yeah, 4.8 billion. So, and you know, our average, what do you think the average value of a domicile home is in Dunedin? This is a good surprise. 200,000.
Yeah.
Yes, 200,000. The taxable value, mind you. And the reason for that. I just went over this with finance. The reason for that is save our homes, right? Because we are predominantly not a rental community, but you own your homes, and save our homes essentially caps the increase in your property value. That's taxable. So 3%. So it's only $200,000 is taxable for us, which is surprising because you know what I hear all the time is, but property values are escalating so much. Why is it that we're not collecting what we need in the ad valorem? It's because of save our homes. Is it a good thing? We own our home. I think so. You know, from the other perspective, maybe not. You know, when you try to generate the revenue, and I do want to touch upon that a little bit because the governor's been talking about property values. So, but values have increased, which means an increase in taxes in the city of Dunedin. Our millage rate, though, the rate at which we tax you, has remained the same since. Very good. He's got an A student here. He has been listening to me at night. He said he did. Yeah, he is. He sat at the front row when he went, in school. Yeah. So our millage rate is 4.1345 mils, which is $4.13 for every $1,000 in value of your home. So it's one of the lower millage rates in Pinellas County. The county is actually even higher than that. So in your whole, when you get your trim notice, which is your truth and millage, and you get that in August, you get, you know, what you're going to need to pay in taxes, and it's all divvied up, school board, county, you know, depending on where you live, right? Of that taxable value, of that truth and millage notice, the city of Dunedin is 22%. 22% of the total taxes that you pay, which a lot of people don't realize. And for that, you get public safety, you get streets, you get parks, you get me, you get, no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You get administration, you get finance, you get all those sorts of things. So the fire department costs $14 million, Parks and Recreation Department costs $17 million a year, and public safety costs $7.6 million, meaning the sheriff's office, a year. And so when you figure that 22% goes into all of that. So we need to remain vigilant and efficient in what we do for sure. So when the taxes come in, then when I mentioned some services but we have lots of other services, and I know that you're at Citizens Academy right now, which you're going through all the services. We have 21 different bank accounts, 21 different funds in the city of Dunedin. I just mentioned general fund. So general fund is we populate that using your ad valorem taxes, and it's only 33% of our entire budget. Only 33%. The other is from water, wastewater, which is a user fee, right? Solid waste, which is a user fee. Water, wastewater, solid waste, engineering comes out of, the enterprise fund. Marina is an enterprise fund, and so on and so forth. So it's run like a little business. Anything that is contributed to it from user fees must be used within that account, within that, that enterprise fund. And if it doesn't, if you see that all the time when you read the newspaper, so-and-so was indicted for XYZ. Traditionally, it's because you're using that money for a different fund, which is against the law. So I'm very, very careful. We are very, very careful in Dunedin regarding how it is we expend our funds to ensure that we stay within accounting guidelines for expenditure of those funds. So our total appropriated budget, expenditures and reserves is $280 million. Of those $280 million, $123 million we hold in reserve. Every single fund of those 21 funds has a reserve requirement, and that is our rainy day fund. For example, when we were hit by Hilton, a lot of people asked me, how are you paying for all of this? I know, with the debris removal, with the additional staff, and the answer was reserves. It was our reserve funds, our rainy day funds, which in the general fund, which is our major checkbook, we never let fall below 15%. This budget year, because we've moved out some of our larger capital projects, we're not going to be able to accomplish them this year. We proposed before the city commission a balanced budget. There is no deficit in our budget with a reserve of 29.4%. So yes.
That take up.
I have that. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. I want to talk to you, and Dave says I have 15 minutes. I'm not sure how far I'm in, but I want to talk to you about a couple of things. FEMA, I want to talk to you about the fraud issue that we suffered. Tell you exactly what happened there. I want to talk to you, a little bit about our capital projects moving forward. So, the costs that we're encountering though, as we adopt the budget, our operating costs only increased by 2.5%. So with the department directors, it's like you get additional 2.5% this year to accomplish your mission, and that's it. You don't go over. There's a lot of hemming and hawing, but they do it, and they do a great job. Our healthcare costs increased by 15%. Yeah, it's substantial. We had some catastrophic issues, and I'm just glad we were there to support our employees and their spouses. And pharmaceutical is just like every place else, is just killing us. Our Pinellas County Sheriff's contract increased by 7.2%. And so that was a big increase because they're experiencing the healthcare as well. And the officers just went through union negotiations. Our employees are getting up to 3.5% merit-based increase. There is no COLA, so it's a merit-based. If they perform very well, they get 3.5%. If they perform less than that through their evaluation, then they would get something less than that. Our employees, as I said, we just did a employee satisfaction survey. And I'll say this, that we did a class and comp study 3 years ago. We implemented it. It was controversial, but we brought all of our employees up to the top 25% of the market. But that wasn't enough for them. We live in a different environment now than certainly when I started, working 30 years ago. But anyway, so we had to put some other things on the table. So we have flexible work schedules. We actually introduced, and I'm really proud of this, parental leave. And governments typically don't have parental leave. We started at 6 and we went up to 8 weeks. So I'm really proud of that, because it will help us attract a younger workforce. Our workforce's average age is about 53. So, and they're long tenured employees. I tried to get the commission to approve grandparental leave, but they wouldn't do it. So maybe that's next. Our son will have to have another baby. That'll be 4 then. All right. Yeah. So we have merit-based, and then no adds to staff this year too. So we have about 450 employees altogether. We have about 413 FTEs, which is full-time equivalent. A lot of those are part-timers, and we're right size now. We're fine where we are. We don't need any additional employees. If we need additional employee in one area, we're gonna have to find out, in the organization where we're gonna, find that position and transfer it over. We do have still in the budget larger scale capital projects. We've got the pool aquatic complex, that's 18 million. We've got to replace that pool. We've got to do something with it. It is leaking. You know, and a lot of people feel, for example, that the golf course is a luxury or the pool is a luxury. Well, you know, whatever happens to the golf course happens to the neighborhood around it. You know, so you've got to maintain the open space that is the golf course. The pool, we have swimming lessons, therapy, the high school swim team swims there, and on and on. So it's important that we rebuild that pool and that we do it correctly. There is a downtown parking garage, and that's in the property that the city owns on Scotland and Douglas. Our wastewater treatment plant is we're replacing the electrical system, the SCADA system. So our wastewater treatment plant and our water treatment plant are closed systems. You know, when that thing happened in, I think it was Oldsmar, that somebody hacked into their water, that will never happen in Dunedin because there's no access to the internet in our water treatment plant. So, and then the marina. So, and I'm going to kind of roll into FEMA reimbursement then. So the city was by, Hilton, the city was impacted. The damages cost us about $20 million. The marina is $5 million of that $20 million. And so, as you know, it's hit very hard. We have been very careful to ensure that everything we do is going to be reimbursable by FEMA. And it is. I know it's taken a long time. We've drawn a lot of fire on that. But, the way I feel about it, we're going to take a long time doing the marina, and we're taking a lot of fire right now. But in 3 years, I think people will understand that the marina is open and it looks great. But if we impact the enterprise fund at the point where we have a deficit or goes negative, that will be an impact 3 years from now, just the way it is right now. So it will be generational. That impact will be generational. So we're being very, very careful. We stabilize the docks and it's operating, it's up and running. People are in the marina, they're enjoying it. And so, we're going to continue to work together to get it open. The east bulkhead wall, which is the one that tore away from the side, is going to start in October. The day dock is going to start in January. So we're doing everything as we go along as quickly as we possibly can. So, FEMA reimbursement, what does that look like? We, as I said, we're very careful from the get-go, from day one of Helene, to make sure that our paperwork was in order for FEMA. I have a great experienced staff. They know what they're doing. They've been through storm after storm after storm, as have I. And so we anticipate that we will be reimbursed 87% of the $20 million. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you. And that's staff. They were so careful, so diligent. I'm just so proud of them to that end. That said, though, we're not sitting back and waiting for FEMA. We are applying for grants. We hired a grant writer. She's very talented. PCF, hands off her. But anyway, I see you too. We've hired a grant writer, very, very talented. Her goal this year was $10 million in grants. She's at $5 million right now. So yeah, and 1.5 million of that is for the marina. That said, in damage repair. That said, though, that 1.5 FEMA will not give us, but that makes sense. They shouldn't give us, but I want to secure it now as opposed to waiting for FEMA. They have FEMA's reimbursed $5 million for the debris removal. That was our hard cost for debris removal. And then the 20 million is above that as well. So I have not heard anything contrary to we will be reimbursed for these storms. What I've heard is that proactively it may change. And if FEMA actually goes to the states, that emergency management, I don't mind that. They're closer to us, but I just hope that federal money follows it because, a lot of these smaller states just are not able to recover the way that Florida or California or, that deal with these types of emergencies quite a bit. We have a Penny for Pinellas 5 referendum coming up. So Penny for Pinellas 5, we're in 4 right now. It generates for the city this last year in Penny 4, $44 million. So the things that we built with that are the Hale Center, the Community Center, the Emergency Operations Center, I think the new fire station on Michigan, rebuilt that. So it goes into hard capital projects. In fiscal or Penny 4 was approved in 2017 by about 76%, and we hope Penny 5, which is 2028, will be approved by the same. And we're putting together our signature projects right now for the Penny 5. If it is not, then it's going to be an issue for us in our capital projects, a very deep issue, but much more for the county and other cities than us. Anything that we budgeted for, I have not spanned into Penny 5. meaning it's paid for out of what we have and what we know now. We're assuming Penny 5 does not pass so that we don't have to figure out a way to fund it later on. Sound judgment, right? Yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to skip ahead to the fraud because I know I'm going long here. So we have a paving company, and we've been they're called Gator, and some of you who are in capital projects may have heard of them. So we've been dealing with them for years. When you see our roadways being resurfaced, it's Gator that's doing it. So our relationship with them has been, as I said, they have to go to bid, but it's been a very long relationship. We received a request for payment from their vice president, and that's how we've been paying them. Request for payment. They go to the electronic, payment, ACH we call it. So we paid the $600,000, is that actually $750,000 invoice, if you will. We got a call 2 weeks later from Gator saying, "Where's our money?" And we said, "Well, we paid you," and they said, "No, you didn't." So we had the sheriff's office in our office that afternoon, and what happened was that somebody had hacked into Gator's website. And they hacked into this particular person's website and sent the request, and we sent the money back to the address that was given to us and verified. But they'd hacked into that as well and diverted the funding into an account that they started transferring it. So the entire time we're 2 weeks behind, right? We're subpoenaing because the banks just don't turn over the information. We had to subpoena it. We're 2 weeks behind the threat actor, as you call them. So finally, I get a phone call, and we actually call back $150,000 immediately from Bank of America. I get a phone call from Bob Gualtieri, and he said, "We have a gentleman in Utah that has received the money." And here's the twist: the gentleman in Utah that received the money is not the person that stole the money. So what happened was that the person that stole the money, or there's an offshore threat actor, that's what they call them, threat actors, kept on transferring the money because he knew Pinellas County Sheriff was following him, and transferred into the wrong account. So this gentleman went to bed one night at a negative $37 in his account and woke up at $500,000. Yeah. So I've been explaining this fraud to all of our employees. Bob Gualtieri, came to talk to the city commission about how it happened. This is public record. And I say to our employees, this is what happened. This is how it happened. And I get the same reaction, Chuck. Yeah, what would you do? Well, if that money had landed in the account of a good person, of any person here, that $500,000 would be back into our checkbook right now. But the person who received the money, what did he do? He went out and bought a new truck, a GMC truck. Then he took that truck mudding and totaled it. So the truck is sitting someplace in Utah. And I asked Gualtieri, I said, "That's our truck. I want it back. Don't let him sell it. It's our truck. It belongs to us." Anyway, so the sheriff's office took it very seriously, their economic crimes detectives, and they went to Utah and extradited that gentleman. And he's currently sitting in jail in Pinellas County. So he's going to go to trial, and he can't make bail because he doesn't have $500,000 anymore because he spent it all. He sent it to his relatives and so on and so forth. But when he goes to trial, I'll be there, and I have no doubt the commission will be there as well as interested parties. So we're not stepping back on this at all. We're requesting a full and robust prosecution of this gentleman. I don't care if he wasn't the person that did it to begin with. We're continuing to follow what we can of the funds. So of the original threat actor. So any questions on that? Oh, good question. Okay, insurance and I will. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a really good question, Kathy. So and Julie asked, did insurance pay? So I want to talk. Yes, insurance paid, but not very much. I think $75,000. Yeah. The other part is, how did we pay for it then? So we have a risk fund, and the risk fund is pretty robust. It's about $5 million that we set aside for our claims. We get sued all the time. In fact, there's a line out the door. So we pay our claims, and we paid the funds out of our risk fund. It is taxpayer money. I would never stand here and say that you, the taxpayers, didn't pay for that. But I will say the fund is set aside specifically for that reason. It did not impact the general fund. It did not impact anything else, not impact our premiums. It's very unfortunate. But it's still, as I said, it's there for that specific purpose. 150,000. Yeah. Yeah. And we're still looking at more. Well, plus the 75, you know, but like I said, we're still hoping that we can follow the path of where he sent it as well. And, you know, apparently not. We had our attorneys because, yeah, that's a really good question. I don't think so. We haven't been able to pursue that at all. So they were a victim of a crime as well. So, Hmm.
Sure, so they have to check that.
yeah,
Not like.
yeah, we all do. Yeah. That's right. So Kathy asked, and that was a good question. But first of all, I want to cover what we did to take care of that and to slam that door shut. And we did it the day after it happened. And that is any electronic fund transfer, anything over $10,000, we send a certified check. Total old school, total backwards, but yeah. So we verify anybody, their request for funds, we call them up directly. And also, if we do allow electronic fund transfer, then we send an initial email of a zero balance email and have the principal of the company call us back and say, yes, I got it. It's in our, you know, so we're very careful in those terms. But Kathy, you know, and I say the employees from my employee communication just have to be vigilant. You know, these people could do so many good things. Dave and I have had this conversation. They could do so many good things for so many people like all of you are, but you know, no, they're figuring out ways to defraud and steal. And we're all going to, you know, we all need to be vigilant. You know, you see anything in your account, look at your credit card bills, look at your businesses and, you know, on and on. And we do have safeguards in place and it still happened to us. So, you know, like I said, we closed that door, but I hope a window doesn't open somewhere. No. Mhm.
And I had those who had gotten close to that.
Mhm.
They had said to me, I wish they would put something out on that. Thanks to know exactly what happened. And since it wasn't really our fault, it's fault, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that what I would do actually is and that's a good point. I would send out a clip or make it available. Or a video clip or to all of you even. If we, you know, when we post something though on Facebook, if we're gonna post this or on any of our social media, it's just gonna be a firestorm of God knows what else, you know, so you have to be, our communications director is very vigilant about what we post. But I would happy to send you that video of Bob Galtieri. Don't you think, Commissioner Dugard, that would be helpful? Yeah. Talking to the city commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm getting the hook here. So any other questions or comments? Yeah.
Go ahead, Pat.
Well, my question is really short and sweet. I think that when, it's not a question, it's a comment. When the governor's Doge team comes to visit, I think they're gonna find us some really good shit.
I think so. Yeah.
We
Like
can't
your
hear you, Pat.
description,
So what Pat says, when the governor comes, Doge comes to town to find us in, where he's gonna find us in good shape. I think so too. But there is, I spoke to Barry Burton, the county administrator. Yeah. So any of our resiliency efforts are going to be reviewed. Anything dealing with DEI is going to be reviewed. And we have all those items in our budget. Diversity, sustainability also, I've heard. So those types of things. They can't, you know, the governor's office cannot dictate to the means and methods or operations to the city of Dunedin. But what they can do is pull state funding. And we have a lot of grants out there. So we've had two requests, two interactions, and you probably have you guys had any interaction with those? No? Oh, you're private. Anyway, yeah. Lucky him. But the first one, they asked three things. Have you ever adopted a deficit budget? Have you ever declared fiscal urgency? And have you ever had a management finding in an audit? And those accountants here know a management finding means something that we need to improve. So the answer to the first one is no urgency, no deficit budget, and yes is the third one. About 5 years ago, only one person was counting money in the community center. You need two people to count money before you deposit it. That was an easy fix. Yeah. And then Doge also, right around when the budget was due, made a huge request, the same request that they made to the county. So every employee, how much they make, what position they're in, of every agreement we've entered into, of every bid we've put out of so much information, but we got it to them on time. We got it to one time, which is, we don't, last thing we want to do is put up the flag, say, hey, come here and have a look. Even though when they do, we'll be open and honest. The book is open, right? We'll be as transparent as we can. So,
I do have
Terry.
a comment too. I work in the city with insurance. And I will tell you that how much of the insurance went up this year?
15.
It went up 15%, and Jennifer and the commission, Jennifer, I'm sure you recommended it, and the commission approved that the city would eat that.
Mhm.
So they're paying for all of the
Premiums.
15% increase.
Right.
And it's a better and much better policy. You switch
Mhm.
to a different policy, but thank
Last
you to
year,
the
yeah.
commission.
Yeah.
Last year.
Well,
But,
yeah,
I mean,
it's,
I was very, and then the parental leave, having dads be able to go for.
Yeah.
Maternity leave.
moms and dads
or
for maternity
I
leave,
guess it's for paternity leave.
paternity,
Be weird.
but yeah,
But it was very cool to see that
yeah.
in this climate. I think the staff very appreciative.
Well, they were, and you know, with the staff, and you can see it through Citizens Academy, it really genuinely only cost the city about $53,000 to do that. But for them, it's huge. It's huge. You know, because in the, 120, 130, dollars a year is groceries. So, and on, but it was really what the city commission, what it signifies to them. That city commission supports them.
It's just value.
Right.
I'm actively looking for a position in the city. Your benefits are amazing.
Yes, yeah, they're good benefits. That's one of the reasons why people work for government
Yes.
Yeah. too. So, yeah. Anybody else? Any questions? Comments? No? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Pat did mention the little free library, but I'll tell you the impact of that was amazing. And to have some little kids go and pull books out of there and the look of happiness and joy on their face and receiving, a simple child's book, it's priceless. It's absolutely priceless. So great job. And Pat gave a very nice speech. Bev was there to support her. We had a good time.